U.S. Labor Secretary Hilda Solis joins us now. Madam Secretary, thank you very much. Good news, bad news. We've got a lower unemployment rate, but still a very high, I would assume you would say unacceptably high number of people still looking for work, and others who are so discouraged they're not even trying to find work. What is the president going to announce next Tuesday that can fix this?
Well, I think, as you said, he's out in Allentown, Pennsylvania now talking with a group of people, and next week he'll be talking about proposals that he'll want to get feedback from people on, and he's working with his cabinet members and his advisors as well as talking with folks on the Hill. And I know that we heard yesterday at the summit that people were very interested in seeing more support for infrastructure funding, for transportation projects, and also support for local government and state government, and to continue to expand unemployment insurance for those people who are still hard hit, hard pressed, and can't find a job. But we know that we also have to retool people, and we heard a lot about that, about the need for better training, more focused training in areas in manufacturing, in renewable energy, and also loosening up credit so that small businesses and medium-sized businesses could open up and expand their businesses. And the president has worked very hard, as you know, on the Recovery Act to see that some of these areas were given the needed support. And I can tell you that the CBO this last week, during the week, talked about the positive aspects of the Recovery Act, that it did help to create 1.6 million jobs. And in this report that we see today, we saw an increase in jobs in temporary jobs, consultant jobs. 52,000 jobs were added, 40,000 were added in health and in education. And what really caught my eye also was the fact that we saw at least 5,000 jobs added into the civil engineering area, which tells me that people are going to start to look at developing plans, designing plans for infrastructure projects.
From everything that the White House and people in your department have been saying, it's clear that we're not going to have a, quote, second stimulus package. That's been pretty much ruled out, the politics of that for a number of reasons. But what can be done on the tax incentive side? That's what the president said at the Jobs Summit yesterday they are taking a serious look at.
I think they're looking at helping those industries or small businesses, medium-sized businesses that help to create jobs. So that's been one area that people have talked about yesterday at the summit, and I've been hearing over the last few months. I also think that there's opportunities to really focus more in on some of the Recovery Act money that hasn't yet gone out, and some of our funds, for example, will be coming out in late December and in January and February to help more of our communities begin to retool themselves and really target themselves and partner with businesses so we have a good workforce that's ready to go as soon as these jobs start becoming available.
Let me show you what Congressman Boehner had to say today about this and see whether or not you agree.
One of the concerns we have are the number of people who've quit looking for work. We've got to look pretty closely at how you extend unemployment and how you do it fairly. As we've extended unemployment, we've raised the FUTA tax on employers, making it more difficult and expensive for employers to bring employees back.
Does that fit in with some of the complaints that the president heard directly from some small business members, businessmen and women yesterday at the Jobs Summit, that there are so many changes and new regulations and uncertainties that they can't plan, and that they're not going to make the bet on hiring if they can't figure out what's going to happen, not just on this unemployment tax that the minority leader was referring to, but on climate change, on a whole lot of other issues. They can't plan their future.
Well, one of the things I believe that was said very clearly by the president yesterday was the need for health care reform and helping to drive down the cost of health care reform for many of the small businesses. They can't go on and hire or even acquire more supplies because of the notion that they're not quite sure where things are going to go. But if we can get this bill through out of the Senate and into conference and signed before Christmas, I think that there will be a lot of people who will businesses will make the decisions necessary. And we did hear some positive feedback about the direction that the bill is going in, because because people ultimately want to see those costs in healthcare go down. They want to have access to their medicines at a lower cost, and we definitely want to see that more families and small businesses can participate and pool their resources together to have that coverage. So I kind of hear a different message there, and certainly Congressman Boehner has his opinions, but I would just remind people that they were not the ones that helped provide any support or votes for the recovery effort, and yet they continue to be the party of no.
Now, Robert Samuelson was writing in the Washington Post and Newsweek that job creation is fundamentally a private sector process, and the private economy is experiencing a broad retreat from credit-driven spending. Companies hire mainly when they see greater demand for their products and believe that extra workers will generate higher profits, more jobs than elevate confidence and demand. But for now, the logic is running in reverse. Doesn't he have a point?
I think that soon in the beginning of the year you're going to see more opportunities, public-private partnerships, and obviously a lot of the stimulus money will be coming out in the form of assistance and loans targeting new manufacturing industries like lithium batteries, hybrid cars, biofuels, and different things that I have been hearing as I go around the country, and especially in this whole renewable energy sector. I hear a lot of enthusiasm on the part of many of these new starting companies that want to have more assistance in terms of R&D, research, and credits. And I think that those are very viable discussions that we need to have.
And unused TARP funds, could that be used for some kind of job stimulus?
I think that that's a discussion that the members of the House are having, but to be honest, my focus and I think our focus now is just to make sure that we get the recovery money out and that we start the discussion in the week that's coming, where the President will outline what other steps we have to take to provide for this recovery.
Thank you very much. Hilda Solis, the Labor Secretary, thanks for joining us on the day when those new numbers came out. Good to see you.
Happy holiday.